Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Tammy Live. I'm Tammy and tonight I'm going to show you how to make my absolutely delicious smothered pork chops, guys. Yes, I do have a recipe out already in regards to smothered pork chops. However, these smothered pork chops, guys, trust me, this recipe this time is going to be even better than the last recipe. It's going to be absolutely delicious and packed with tons of flavor. And guess what? I'm also going to show you how to make my delicious whipped mashed potatoes to go along with our delicious smothered pork chop, guys. So without further ado, let's jump right in and introduce our ingredients and get started. Alrighty, I have salt as well as ground black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, as well as Montreal chicken seasoning. I also have some dried parsley as well as some flour, Creole seasoning, and chicken bouillon powder. Now here's the thing, guys. If you guys have the bouillon cube, you can always break it up. Trust me, when I say the chicken bouillon powder is gonna give, like, literally amp those flavors up in the pork chop, trust me, it's gonna definitely make the pork chops taste even better. Also, I have some red onions, as well as some chicken broth and additional flour. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, I'm gonna hit these pork chops off with some salt. Perfect. And we're going to use some black pepper. Ground black pepper is what I should say. As you guys can see, I have my literal seasoning out and nothing is in a ramekin. Whenever you see it like this, it's because everything is going to be seasoned to taste. If you see me pull out the ramekins, it's because it's going to be precise measurements. But with this situation right here, these delicious looking beautiful pork chops, it's going to be pretty much seasoned to taste. Seasoned to your liking. Don't you hate when the bottle is full and it's like literally so full, you're shaking it, but nothing, like everything is like so tight that it doesn't come out? Well, that's what's going on. Anyway, we have enough black pepper. We're also going to use some garlic powder, just a tad bit, not too much, not too much. As well as, some onion powder, if I could get it open, literally. Got that onion powder on deck. And by the way, how's everybody doing? I hope everyone is in great spirits. I hope everybody's doing perfectly fine. If not, trust me, everything is gonna be a-okay. Just be patient, be calm, and be collective. And we're gonna add that Montreal chicken seasoning. This is gonna be good. And we're also gonna add our Creole seasoning. Not too much because we did add salt, and let's remember that Creole seasoning does contain salt, so we don't wanna overdo it. And I'm gonna take my hands, and these are thin pork chops. As you can see, they're thinly sliced. With that being said, I am going to literally massage all of the seasonings on the front, and I'm also gonna take it and spread it on the back as well. These, like I said, pork chops are pretty thin, so we really don't need to add a ton of seasoning. Usually I add to both sides, but that depends on the thickness and the cut of the meat. Rub it all in, give it a good massage. Good massage. Show these pork chops some love, care, and concern. Place it right there. Do the same thing for this one. Rub it on in. The combination of seasonings, it smells so inviting. It smells so good. Sometimes, just by the way things smell, you automatically know it's gonna turn out amazing. You just know. Shake it, okay. Rub it on in. If you have a thicker cut of pork chops, definitely flip it over and get the seasoning, season both sides. Only if you don't add enough to the front. But if you added enough to the front, you do what I'm doing pretty much. You take it and you spread it literally throughout the meat. Take the seasoning that's right here sitting in the plate. Nothing goes to waste. Not over here, it doesn't. We're gonna use everything. All right, place it right here. Give it some ample space. Put it right here and Place it there and place it right there. The reason why I'm doing this at this point is because I'm not gonna get a separate dish. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna flour lightly. We're not gonna overdo it with the flour because we're not deep frying it. What we are doing is frying it, yes, but we're not deep frying it because we're gonna smother it later on. So we're just gonna dredge it lightly in flour, and this, my friend, is what we need. Just like that. Shake off any excess flour. Alrighty, so far we have perfectly seasoned pork chops. And what we're gonna do next is, I'm gonna take off one glove, and my pan is already preheated, nice and hot, ready to go. I'm gonna add some oil. And as I mentioned, I'm not gonna add too much oil. And once that oil comes up to temperature, we are gonna add our pork chops to the oil, and it's gonna be time to get these pork chops cooking. All right, we are gonna place our first piece into the pan, just like that. And these are gonna fry up pretty fast because, as I mentioned, they're pretty thin. And I think I have room for one more. I'm gonna end up frying this obviously in 2 batches because we're not gonna overcrowd the pan. Just like that, bam, done. Yeah, like I was saying, we're gonna fry it in 2 batches because obviously, like I said, we're not gonna place everything in there and like have everything, you know, we want to hear that sizzle. Hearing the sizzle is a perfect indication that everything is frying and is not just sitting and literally simmering in oil and just picking up excess grease. So once we have that sizzle, that sound, that's what we are looking for. So once we take these out, then I'm obviously gonna put these in and we will be in business. So what I'm gonna do is allow it to brown on one side, flip it over, allow it to brown on the other side, and I'm gonna show you exactly what everything looks like as soon as we come back. We are removing our last pork chop from the hot grease. Yes, we are. And look at how beautiful, nice and golden brown. Because it was a thinner cut, I allowed it to fry on both sides, literally on medium high, for about maybe 2.5 to 3 minutes. And as you can see, this is the result. Once again, on both sides. 2.5 to 3 minutes on one side, then I flipped it over once it was golden brown, and I allowed it to fry for around the same time on the other side as well. Also, if you have a thicker cut of meat, of course, you're gonna probably increase the timing to maybe 4 to 5 minutes or even 6 minutes, depending on how the cut of meat is. And with all of that being said, it's time to make our delicious smothered gravy. Yes, guys, this oil, still hot. And as I mentioned, don't add too much oil to the pan because when it comes time to saute your veggies and make your sauce, you don't want your sauce to be greasy. You want to add just enough to fry your pork chops. Also, it's pork. It makes its own oil, just like beef. So yeah, be careful on the amount of oil that's added. What we're gonna do is we are gonna allow these onions to break down just a bit. And I'm using red onions. However, if you have yellow onions, you can use yellow or white onions. But the reason why I'm using the red onions is because not only is it more pungent, but it's more fragrant as well. And when these flavors break down into this pork grease, trust me, it's gonna be even better than just adding a regular onion. Yes. So we are gonna allow these onions to saute just a bit in the oil for about maybe one minute, I would say. And trust me, these onions are gonna bring such delicious flavor. It's gonna be an absolute compliment to our smothered gravy sauce. Once again, you hear that sizzle because we are what? Sauteing. We are sauteing our onions. Now, if that sizzle goes off and you don't hear the sizzle, guess what? Your onions are gonna be like literally just simmering, simmering in its own juices once the juices start to release. Give it a good mix. This is gorgeous, guys. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. All right, what we are gonna do now is, guys, we are gonna add our flour. And the flour is gonna work as a thickening agent to thicken our sauce, or should I say our gravy. Give it a good mix, and what we're doing is we're cooking the flour out. Get this flour cooked up. Toast that flour just a bit. Now that our flour is toasted, it is time to add our chicken broth, or should I say chicken stock. If you don't have any type of broth, whether it be vegetable broth, chicken broth, and so on and so forth, of course, you can always use water. Whatever you have is what you are going to use. Because guess what? The pork chops are flavored so wonderfully. Even if you add water, it's not going to take away from the seasoning. Because guess what? Not only am I adding chicken broth, but it's low sodium chicken broth. So yeah, go figure. Give everything a good stir, good mix. Combine the liquid with the onions and the flour and everything else. And of course, if you get those bits at the bottom of the pan and you say to yourself, oh my God, the pork chops burned and they're left like, like I said, those bits in the pan, that's okay. Those bits are gonna be released once you add the liquid to the pan. However, also it's gonna give the sauce or gravy a lot of flavor. Only if it's like extremely burned, then you might have to start over. And to this, we are also going to add just a tad bit of Creole seasoning, not too much. And we are gonna add our chicken bouillon powder, which is gonna give it such an amazing flavor. If you don't have chicken bouillon powder, you can always use a cube. Just break it up or break it down really well within the sauce, because you don't want any lumpy chicken bouillon cubes in your sauce. Trust me, you don't want to bite into it. It's a little bit too pungent. We're also going to add some smoked paprika to the mix, and the smoked paprika is going to give it a nice color. We're also going to add some garlic powder. We don't need the onion powder because we have the red onions already. Add just a tad bit of garlic, and we're going to give everything a good stir, a good mixeroo. As you can see, the paprika gave our sauce such a beautiful color. And I am gonna combine all of the ingredients. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the flame to low heat. And we are gonna allow this sauce to not only simmer, but we are gonna allow it to thicken up as well because we added that flour. And yes, we're gonna leave this sauce undisturbed to allow it to do its thing for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and then cover it down. Hey, it's been about 2 to 3 minutes so far, and our sauce, as you can see, has a perfect simmer and an even better aroma. Trust me, it smells so inviting and so delicious. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a tad bit of dried green parsley. Of course, not only for flavor, but for decoration. And we're gonna add our pork chops back to the sauce. Yes, you heard me correctly, back to the sauce. Alrighty. And I think we have enough space for everything to be added back to the pan. All right, yes we do, indeed we do. We have more than enough space. What we're gonna do is we're gonna spoon over some of those delicious onions and sauce to literally become one, and it's gonna be absolutely amazing. Beautiful. We're gonna cover it over and allow the pork chops to simmer in the sauce for honestly about maybe 5 minutes on low heat. Now, if you have a thicker cut of pork chop, you're gonna allow it to simmer in the sauce for a longer time, because let's say that the pork chop is not cooked all the way through, hypothetically speaking. Now would be the perfect time to allow the pork chop to cook all the way through by sitting or simmering in that hot sauce. Also, Yes, my pork chops are much thinner, so I'm gonna allow it to just, like I said, allow all the flavors to intertwine for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna check on it, make sure everything is good, and we'll take it from there. Now, I am gonna be serving these pork chops up with some mashed potatoes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get cracking on making some delicious whipped mashed potatoes. Our potatoes are strained, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add it to this bowl. And they are nice and hot for this recipe. I have some half and half. However, if you want to use heavy cream, you can. And I also have some butter right here, as well as salt. And believe it or not, these potatoes are going to be absolutely delicious. We are going to use our potato masher, and we are going to start mashing our potatoes just like this. Pretty simple, right? Nothing complicated. Sometimes the simplest ingredients make the best food, to be honest with you. It's just about mixing, matching, and pairing and making it complimentary. All right, with all of that, we are going to add some half and half. If we need to add more, of course, we're gonna go back in and add some more. We're also gonna add the butter, as well as a pinch of refined salt. Just a small pinch, not too much. Hey, stop it. Okay. And we are going to continue mashing. Sometimes what I do is when I'm mashing my potatoes, I allow the potatoes to stay on the stove top, of course, after draining the water off. And I get to mashing while it's on medium heat, and that keeps it nice and hot. So when you're serving it, it's nice and hot. I do that from time to time. Perfect timing. Our pork chops, or should I say our smothered pork chops, smell absolutely delicious. On point. And we are finished with our mashed potatoes. As you can see, it has a perfect consistency. Perfect. It's about that time, guys. It's time to plate some food. Let's get everything out the way. Put this right here. We are gonna plate these potatoes right here. Oh my God. Ooh, this looks beautiful. Look at how beautiful. We have that nice, rich, thick gravy. Let's get some of those onions. Ooh. That is absolutely amazing. And of course, let's clean it off. We don't serve sloppy plates. No, we don't. No, we don't. Everything has to look absolutely appetizing. Here we go. Absolutely beautiful. Anyway, guys, I am gonna do my taste test in literally 3 seconds. So continue watching and I'll tell you how everything tastes, and I'll be right back. Look at how beautiful our delicious smothered pork chops are sitting on top of this delicious bed of perfectly whipped mashed potatoes. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to dig in. This looks absolutely gorgeous. And it is time to taste our delicious food. Delicious mashed potatoes, as well as our delicious smothered pork. Perfect duo. And Guys, when I say this is an absolute delight, I mean this is an absolute delight. This has to be the best smothered pork chops in the history of smothered pork chops. Oh my God, it is so good. Not to mention with the delicious creamy whipped mashed potatoes, and you get that buttery taste from the butter that we added to the potatoes. It's not over salted, plus that cream that we added to the potatoes as well. Whoa, I feel like you're in heaven. Not to mention all of this complimentary seasonings that went into the pork from the beginning up until the point where we made the smothered gravy. Seasoning from top to bottom on every level. This is absolute perfection. And I am not literally tooting my own horn, but this is where it is. Guys, full recipe details, of course, click on the Tammy.recipes. My God, it's absolutely delicious. Anyway, guys, I catch you in another video. I am gonna go and distribute this food and finish up on this plate. Anyway, guys, I catch you later. Bye, guys.